Going live. All right, so hi, I'm Alan. And we got a bunch of people here, and we're going to do a little fate game. We'll see how this goes. All right, so the setting is Arkham, Massachusetts, which is one of the main settings of H.P. Lovecraft's books. Yes, Jacob, it is for science. So the setting of Arkham is a small, well, not so small, medium-sized city on the Miskatonic River in Massachusetts, and it's a very old city with Georgian bustresses and winding streets and lots of old sagging gabled roofs and whatnot. And there's a large dock down by the water, and so we got a couple of aspects of this location, world in general. The first being is that the populace is blissfully unaware. While bad things may be constantly happening to this town, everybody kind of just writes it off to coincidence. Oh, that wasn't a monster, that was just a man in a mask, or that wasn't magic. Exactly. They're just like, oh, it was a weather balloon in the sky. It wasn't really what it was. Another aspect that comes in is that a lot of people here have mental health problems. So it's not uncommon for people just to randomly have total mental breakdowns. And
I want to play that guy.
so you've got this ignorance and this false sense of blissfulness. You've got these people losing it all over the place. And the last aspect is that is not dead which can eternally live, and anything strange beyond the eons even death may die. Totally bizarro. Things are here that can't be killed, that have lived forever, and don't even really exist in this world or this dimension. So it's kind of a twisted place and kind of an old Tammy feeling. Now, that being said, the world is not a old time period. This is modern day. The only problem being is the internet hasn't come to Arkham yet, and their cell phone tower is broken. So you got that going for you. You could go to the library and use the landline, dial up, but that's kind of the thought being. I'm in a large city outside of Los Angeles, and my cell service sucks. Arkham is an old city. Nothing works there.
Funny story. I'm in the middle of nowhere in Montana. My cell service is awesome.
See, there you go.
And we have aliens out here, or so I've been told. So.
Montana. I'm gonna hop into Montana. All right. So let's talk about character creation. So we can do character creation a couple of ways. We can do where you guys just kind of go with whatever you want, or we can go off of the character creation rules that we're working on for the game. So it's up to you guys. The concept behind the character creation rules is we have charts that you can roll on to answer the statement, I am a blank whose character has this weird twist. So for example, I'm an extrovert research who found a hidden magic book. Or I'm a high society professor whose partner went missing.
How about I'm an atomic kaiju who is looking for a friend?
Yeah. That's a wrong game. Yeah. So anyway, we have a quick high concept chart if you guys want to use that, or we have a number of actual character vocations that we kind of give as examples for people to fit. I don't know. What did you guys do for Jade Punk? Did you guys come up with a character building thing, or do you leave it more
we changed around for Jade Punk. We changed around the aspect generation, so we have a portrayal instead of a high concept, which is just kind of like how others see you and how you see yourself, and then we have an origin, which is kind of where you come from and who you were. Then you have an inciting incident, which is what caused you to fight evil, and then you have a belief, which is what you believe in, and a trouble, which is your trouble. And then we have the 6 professions, which are basically they cover all of the different actions you can do while not being as loosey-goosey as Fate Accelerated's approaches. And then we have assets instead of stunts, which are basically like build your own extra. So you can build allies and devices and cool techniques.
Okay. Well, we don't have any fighting stuff like that. So
I built the Green Lantern with that, and it was surprisingly easy. So.
Well, I was wondering, I had an idea for the character that I wanted to play is kind of based off of a character out of the game Last Night on Earth. So I wanted to basically... Oh, sorry, what did you say?
I said I like that game. It's a good game.
Yeah. So basically, his high concept would be big man on campus. He's the track star at the local high school. And his trouble would be rebel without a cause because he also turns out to be the son of the town sheriff, or maybe a deputy. But basically, he's always getting in trouble because he feels like he has to, almost kind of somewhat like someone who's like the son of a preacher man. Like he has to rebel because it's just, in his genes to go against what, he's raised with.
Okay, so actually that's a good. So if you look, can you guys read my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Kinda, sorta. So this is actually one of the we call vocations, the jobs that we have in the thing. So this is actually a student type, and Trackstar is a good aspect for a student. So you can see we've got aspects that are, I think, related to being in college. You're really good at hiding liquor. Mm-hmm. You know how to use ramen in 1,001 different ways. You're able to pull an all-nighter. You can recall things from some ancient lecture that you one time sat in on.
Oh, actually, sleep is overrated. I like that for a trouble.
Sleep is overrated, right?
That's not a trouble. Yeah. That's my high concept as a real person.
Yeah, right. There you go. And you got the blackout. I can't remember what I did last night because, maybe drank a little too much. Same thing with tendency to get exceptionally inebriated. In my mind, that's a problem. And the other one being that you're on a shoestring budget. So obviously these are guidelines to go off of. Having a track star is good. So let's talk a little bit about your track star now. What could be some of the twists to your track star? So you're a popular track star. Right, so high concept.
Mm-hmm.
Right, popular track star. So you're some kind of specifically you're a student, but happen to be a track star.
Yes.
And let's talk about some kind of a twist on that high concept. And what I have for twists, and this is just to give you an idea, is you maybe uncovered an ancient book, you inherited something weird. Zoom in. That help? There you go. He's having bad nightmares for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
He was attacked by something he can't explain. He just has a weird, paranoid, uneasy feeling all the time. He happened upon a cult doing something he doesn't know what, and he kind of interrupted their business.
How about this? How about he was actually asthmatic as an adolescent, but something a relative of his did, maybe like, packed with mysterious forces, all of a sudden he didn't have asthma anymore. And he thinks nothing of it, but maybe, with that, something comes back to kind of even out the bargain.
Was mysteriously cured of asthma.
The aspect could be comeuppance incoming.
I actually have an aspect I'm thinking of now that I think of it. And your aspect, I think your trouble might be that you are have a latent possession.
Sure.
So,
technically speaking, isn't everybody latently possessed except possessed people? Like, they would be actively possessed, and then everybody else is just theoretically possible to be possessed.
Well, possession in the way we're setting up possession is a consequence of dealing with things that are otherworldly. So if you happen to have a artifact that is intelligent, say a Necronomicon, you may have a problem in which that book takes over your body and makes you do its bidding, those kind of things. But no, not everybody is possessed or has that possession off the bat.
No, I'm saying it's like latent possession means you're not possessed now, but you could possibly be possessed in the future. So wouldn't everybody who's not currently possessed be latently possessed?
Except for the fact that as a troubled aspect, I can.
Oh no, I get that. I was making a joke.
See,
but the more you explain a joke, the less funny it gets. So I'm pretty sure this joke is no longer even slightly funny.
All right. All right. So let's go back to our student. Okay, so we had a popular track star who is mysteriously cured of asthma by a bizarro relative. Okay, so that assumes that you've got some kind of relative that is somehow magically entwined. That's good. All right, let's talk about just key aspects of that character. So as a student, students have all kinds of aspects of a student. What in your mind, what are two aspects that a student would have besides your high concept?
Well, I'm curious, maybe if I heard about what other people were doing, I could do like a crossing paths with one of them or in some shape or form.
All right, Jacob, you're good at this. What do you want your character to be?
Well, I was thinking I would like to base my character on Dirk Gently on some level or another. He's a holistic detective, and I was like, well, that's neat. What if I was a transcendental detective? I'm just sort of there whenever I need to be there because I'm one with the universe.
So you like? Would you say you like actually magical, or are you more like kind of like a hippie?
Well, the fun part about transcendentalism is when you're doing it right, it either looks completely magical or looks completely mundane because it's basically coincidence-based. Think about how the Force is described in the first Star Wars movie, where it binds you and it controls your actions and you can kind of direct it before you start getting to moving things with your mind. Just you're always in the right place at the right time or the wrong place at the right time. Basically, you're wherever you need to be, whenever you need to be there.
All right, and how would you take that and add a twist to it?
Well, it's Cthulhu. Where I would need to be is not where anybody would ever sanely want to be. So, I mean, being transcendental in a Cthulhu universe, in a Lovecraftian universe, not a good thing, because you just end up at the place that's about to, explode into a hellmouth, or fall into the nether void, or get invaded by fish people, or whatever. You're like, oh, okay, I guess I got to deal with this now. Thanks, universe.
Right. So, how can we do that?
Oh, I've got an idea for one aspect. So perhaps the transcendental detective is also the one that basically caused my parents' divorce because he found out that my father was cheating on my mother.
Right. So Jacob discovered cheating.
So I've got an axe to grind.
All right, against Jacob specifically.
Yeah.
That's okay. I can't be hurt. The universe provides.
I'm trying to give a good twist for you, for a transcendental detective who's in the right place at the right time.
Or the wrong place at the right time. The key thing is I'm where I need to be, not necessarily where I want to be. That's a fine twist.
How about let's give him the twist that he's got a dark family secret. That's kind of easy, and it's very kind of could be anything.
But I'm not really all that interested in that.
No. All right.
Now, I mean, as much as that's a fine hook and everything, I don't know. I don't really see what I would do with that. Let's see here.
What if you were like? What if you were like
Well, here we
working
go.
for
This one's
someone
perfect.
specific?
Accidentally interrupted a dangerous cult. I technically do everything on accident. So,
All right.
I mean, another one would be inherited a mysterious gem, which would also kind of fit the whole coincidental thing. But I think accidentally, I mean, it has the word right there. So, there are no accidents.
All right. So you're a detective. So we could probably pull you out of one of the other fate books. Okay. What about a trouble?
Well, the trouble would be he's a weirdness magnet. Like, wherever he goes, just bad stuff follows him.
He's a
I
thief.
imagine that.
Well, we can.
I love weirdness magnet as a trouble, personally. It's my favorite trouble.
We've got a couple things. We've got marked by evil is one of them, and the player is a magnet for evil things. The evil things are attracted to that person.
That would be the one. Magnet for evil things.
Okay.
Indeed. I have my own personal hell now.
Evil. Okay, so you're marked by evil. All right.
Oh, by the way, Todd, I'm not sure if you've talked before. We're not ignoring you, but we actually can't hear you if you've been talking, or at least I can't.
I have been talking.
Oh, okay. There you are. Like I would see the icon go, and I'm like, I don't hear anything.
I think my mic's just picking up you guys.
Ah.
Okay, so we've got our student track star. We've got our detective bumbler, who is just always attracted to evil, or evil's attracted to him. Either way. Let's see, what's some good aspects for you? As far as what do you want from your aspects to be there, Jacob?
Well, let's see. How many aspects are we just doing? The standard aspect run from like high concept, trouble, all of that, or?
Yeah, I think that's the easiest way to do it, at least in my mind.
Well, we've already got my trouble, and we've got my high concept. Transcendental detective pretty much covers it. So. Other ones are.
How about like underworld contacts? You're a detective.
Yeah, but that doesn't. That's a little vague. Let's go with something more specific. Oh, hey, I know just the guy. There we go. I think that's a good aspect.
I know just the guy.
Because it kind of fits his whole sporadic attempts. Because it's not that he's not your typical detective. He's just a guy who is really okay with wherever he is.
So you just kind of go with the flow.
That's transcendentalism broken down to one sentence. It's just kind of go with the flow. Not everything's a rainbow, but everything is as it should be. So, actually, that's a great aspect too. I'm going to throw that in there. Everything is as it should be.
As it should be. Okay. All right, Todd, you're hiding out. Let's talk about your character.
Yeah, my last name's Todd. So
your last name's Todd. Okay, Houston. There you go.
It's all right. Yeah, I was thinking whenever it comes to Cthulhu stuff, I love the man of action who finds himself in a situation where action doesn't help. So I was thinking like a recently returned vet, like a soldier who just got home from Afghanistan, who's tracking. He goes to his platoon buddy's hometown, to find something out, and stumbles into this nonsense.
Okay, we got a soldier class already, so that's good. Okay, so Houston. I'm saying that right. Houston, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're a soldier. So what would be a good adjective to describe your soldier?
I think obsessed at this point. I think there's something happened with his friend in the shit. And so,
Yeah.
and
Okay,
and so he's obsessed with finding some secret that he learned or finding something out about this town because of his friend.
Okay, so he has uncovered a dark secret.
Okay, no, that works.
And you're not sure what that is right now, or how it fits into anything, but you're here to figure it out. All right, so that's good. So, okay, so as a soldier, so we got some stuff here to kind of hopefully ease the pain of picking aspects. Let's see if I can find it. Fighter. All right, so here's some of the aspects that we came up with for someone who's a soldier specifically. So our aspects that we have, these are, can you guys do that okay? I mean, zoom in a little bit.
Yep.
No, perfect.
So you got duty first, you have military contacts, don't fire to see the whites of the eyes, do you want to live forever? I forget some other ones, and now I'm not seeing them. I'm not the only one working on these documents, so sometimes they go crazy. All right, well, what was the other one? Was military orders, I think was the other one. Under orders. And that one could be used to say, like, well, I'm under orders to do this as an invoke, and as a compel, it could be like, you have orders to do something specific, and you have to kind of deal with it.
Okay. What about something like, I've already lived through one hell, like something where the horrors of war, maybe he's a little more resilient to the horrors of giant monsters eating you.
Maybe just the horrors of war is a good aspect. Like maybe what's the one they use on the fate list is Scars of a War.
Oh, I like that. That works.
As far as okay, do you want to give me a second one, or you want to just keep it blank for now?
Let's just keep it. Yeah, no, let's keep it blank for now.
All right, so let's talk about some of your character's flaws then. Does the like guilt-ridden? Is he got meds problems? Was he taken prisoner by the enemy and tortured?
Probably the first two more than the last one. I imagine he's whatever dark secret he has jangled him more than even normal service would. So something like that where, I don't know, yeah, a certain amount of responsibility for whatever friend he's coming after. He feels a little bit of guilt there.
Burdened by guilt?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got a couple of pretty decent little guys here. All right. Fantastic. I am looking for a book. Sorry, I rearranged my bookshelf, and now I can't find it. All right. So, now, what about some stunts? Everybody gets some stunts. Some fun things that you want your character to be able to do. So for the soldier,
to avoid stress, because my character doesn't freak out, and he doesn't get hit because he's in the right place at the right time. So things like would avoid stress, I think, would work.
Avoid stress. You want to be able to, like, say, spend a fate point to avoid a consequence?
No, I'm thinking things that would work, like bonuses to defense, or something like that.
Because a lot of what you're going to come up against are checks for your mental health. You know, walking into a scene where a tentacle monster is eating a person tends to wear on your psyche.
Yes.
Um,
Let's see here. I need to think about this.
give it a think. Student, Tommy, what are you thinking?
Right now, I'm actually fine with just 2 and then having an extra refresh point. So, sprinter and hardcore parkour.
Hardcore parkour?
Mhm.
Okay, so let's see. Tommy. Stunts. Hardcore parkour. Okay. And what was the other one? Sprinter?
Yes.
We actually have, that's actually one of the other character classes is the criminal class. And one of his aspects is that he is a professional parkour.
Ah,
As,
cool.
as a cat burglar?
That makes sense.
Why would you want to steal cats?
Yeah, well, you know,
Wah, wah, wah.
that's the guy. So the concept behind the criminal class is to have 2 criminals that are good at the same thing, but do it in different ways. And I know you're joking, but I'm just explaining. Anyway, not important because we're not having any criminals, so no worries. Houston, what about you? What are you thinking?
Something where I'd like to something to replace Will on mental attacks. So something to show his training, his physicality in the face of horror. So something like use athletics. I don't know if athletics is the right.
Well, physique might be.
Yeah, I think that's better.
That's lifting and breaking and hoisting and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do like mental fortitude.
Yeah.
And you can use strength instead of
Physique in place of will to defend against mental attack. Does that make sense?
Sure. I've got a couple other ones here that I have up on the screen that are specific to a soldier class. Hard-boiled is meaning basically that you've been to the ringer and you're more resilient to consequences. One shot, one kill is obviously pertaining to weapons, and then backup weapon if you drop your gun or whatever, be like, hey, I have a backup weapon.
I like one shot, one kill here.
Okay.
I think that could be interesting.
You'd think that would also be a doctor stunt.
Right. Dr. Kevorkian. Doctor. There you go. All
Yeah.
right.
It would be called, failed the Hippocratic Oath.
I had an idea for the name of Houston's, the one where he gets to use physique instead of will. Adrenaline rush.
Yeah, I wrote down, used to being in the shit. Something like that, but, yeah, adrenaline.
Ew.
I like adrenaline rush. That explains. That gives it more of a justification.
Right.
Yeah,
All right.
your body has a physical reaction to deal with stress.
I have the stunts I'd like. I'd like danger sense, because that works kind of with the, being one with everything. In the sense of, it just means I get to use notice even when I wouldn't normally be able to use notice. And then I'd like a version of the physique stunt that basically reduces the, where is it? The version of the physique stunt, tough as nails, but I'd like it for will, for mental attacks instead of physical. So once per session at the cost of a fate point, I can reduce the severity of a moderate consequence that's physical in nature to a mild consequence, or erase a mild consequence.
Tough as nails. Fate point. So I'm writing this down.
Okay. Oh wait, I think they already have one. Oh, and yeah, and then I want hard-boiled.
Hard-boiled.
No, I don't. Wait, I don't want that. Never mind. but I would.
You fight dirty.
No, I think I would like power of deduction for investigate. That basically I spend a fate point, and in a couple of minutes, instead of getting one thing on a overcome roll with investigate, I get one thing for every point over that I get. So basically, I can do an entire investigation challenge in one roll, all Sherlock Holmes style. Only instead of Sherlock Holmes style, for me, it would be literally tripping over the clues.
Right. Oh, what a coincidence. You found the hidden door.
Exactly. It would be like in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, when he's like, I find that if I sit and think, and then he sits and the secret door opens.
That's good. I like that.
I love the thought of Brody in a Cthulhu situation. I think that's genius. A little bit.
Brody?
You know Marcus. He got lost in his own museum once. Henry, the pen! Don't you get it? The pen is mightier than the sword. This is war.
I haven't watched that movie in years, only because my brother loved it, and he watched it every single day for 3 years.
I did that with 2 movies. I wore out 2 VHS tapes because I ran them so much. It was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan the Barbarian movie and Big Trouble in Little China. I've watched those movies probably 200-300 times.
Have you seen the Big Trouble in Little China Gangnam Style video?
No, but that sounds amazing.
Oh my god! All right, we got intermission. You guys all need to go watch it right now. I'm gonna pull up the link. Let's see. Because my kids love that movie, and we found this thing, and they were just freaking out.
Whenever it was my turn to pick movies, when we went to the Blockbuster video, I would always pick Big Trouble in Little China. My brothers just hated it. Because once a month we would watch that movie, and they were like, get something else. And I was like,
it's the best Hong Kong action movie ever filmed, and it wasn't filmed in Hong Kong. And nobody in it knew Kung Fu. I'm just saying, it's amazing.
Okay, so here in the comments is the link to it. Everybody go watch it right now. Big Trouble in Little China, amazing. Take 2 minutes and watch it. I can hear it. Do, 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 do. David Lopenta. All right, I'm going to go grab a glass of water. I will be right back. All right. Did you guys watch
Oh,
it?
they actually got...
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome they got one of the actors.
I put the dog away so they can get in, but they can't back out. Yeah, just now. I know. That's like trap them inside. All right, we ready, everybody?
Yeah.
Of course I'm ready. I'm transcendental.
Transcendental. All right, we're going to start the transcendental house. Here in the sleepy middle-class neighborhood. It's Sunday evening in the home of Jacob, the transcendental detective.
No. My name is Bartholomew Quest, the transcendental detective.
Bartholomew. What was the last name? Bartholomew what?
Quest. I'm a distant cousin of Johnny.
I thought you were related to Bart Simpson. All right. Anyway. All right, you're in Bartholomew Quest's living room, and you're sitting around the dinner table, and you guys are just kind of shooting the shit when our transcendental detective notices his neighbor across the street. And something odd catches his eyes. He notices him park his car in front of his house across the street, get out, pop the trunk, and take out 2 canvas-wrapped packages. One of the objects is small and round, and the other approximately the size and the shape of a small baseball bat. Carrying these to the front door, Mr. Corbett, as he's known, holds them both under one arm while struggling with the stubborn lock. The larger of the 2 packages slides loose and falls to the front porch with a resounding plop. The canvas folds fall open, and Bartholomew catches a glimpse of something white and cylindrical lying in the gloom.
That is the worst softball ever.
Exactly. So let's go ahead and transcendental. Let's go make a check to see how transcendental your detection actually is.
Would it be investigation or notice? Because my top 3 are notice is my top, will, and then investigation.
Notice. Well, this would be something like you're looking across the street and noticing something.
So notice then. All right.
Yeah.
Which would put that at 4. If we're doing a +4, like, are we peaked at +4 in the pyramid, or?
Let's do just good +3.
So then our pyramid is we have 1 + 3, 2 + 2s, and 3 +
Oh no, you're doing
ones?
our skills. That's skills normal.
Yes.
Yeah, normal skill.
Okay. So, all right, rolling the dice to notice. I got a 5.
All right, you succeed
I'm good at noticing things.
with style. Actually, that's excellent.
Good job.
So, you happen to notice that that cylindrical baseball-like thing seems to have a hand at the end of it, and not a particularly big hand either. And
I should go ask him if he needs a hand.
it appears to be the hands and the fingers of a small child.
Hey,
What?
I don't want to interrupt the meal or whatever we're doing here, but I think you should look at this, because that's weird. Like, that's weird, right, guys? That's not just me. We don't live in a small child hand depository or something, and I didn't notice.
Well, so everybody turns around and looks and notices him quickly wrapping up the linen and unlocking the door and disappearing into the tightly shut house. A moment later, a light appears in the basement window and is quickly blunted by a hastily drawn shade. And then the house is still.
Well, I'm glad that's over. All right, let's keep.
See, and your neighbor is normal.
Did when he prompted us all to look, did we actually see what it was?
No, so he saw this baby hand. When you guys turned to look, he was kind of like quickly like bustling it up and wrapping it, and then running into the house.
Well, I'm gonna meander over and take a look, because that's what I do.
All right. All right. Well, just to
I'll
make
start with the whole outside of the house, really.
Well, it is early evening. It's typical suburban neighborhood. A couple people walking dogs. Not really really quiet or anything like that. So you could probably just walk on over.
I'm going to say that, so the reason why I'm at this dinner, because it's kind of random this student would be here, I kind of crashed the dinner invitation because I want to know exactly what he found out that caused my parents to get divorced, because neither of them actually told me. So maybe
Look,
this could...
What
so
happened was
yeah.
between the two of them and the mayonnaise jar, and honestly, the less you know, the better it is.
But I want to know!
There are some things man was not meant to know.
So I'm totally following him across the street, and it's just like, why won't you tell me? Why won't you tell me? Like, I'm totally not even paying attention to anything else.
Short version is, I got drunk and forgot it. But
well, no, this is actually good. Okay, so we've got Bartholomew, who's being confronted by, Tommy, what did you say your character was?
Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker. About...
related to the Texas Ranger you've heard tell about.
And, all right, so, Houston, how does Porter fit into this mess?
Well, I discovered a secret.
Right?
And I came to Arkham to figure it out, and it seems like wherever I turn, this loopy detective's name or face keeps showing up. Right? I'm here.
There's
I'm
a
like,
big billboard with me doing this. Saying,
but just
I
seems
can
like
help
every
you.
lead I follow, every person I talk to is like, well, you know who you should really talk to. Quest.
That's perfect.
And so I am a little, like, and I show up and he's got dinner prepared, like he was expecting me. He's like, oh, starts talking like we're old friends. So I'm still, all of a sudden there's this teenager is there as well. So,
asking about his parents.
Yeah, Porter is a little on edge and a little freaked out and just out of his element.
Did you not like
it's realistic for a teenager to go along with something like that. Like something weird happens and they just kind of like...
Yeah, they're so focused on themselves.
Like, oh, that looks like fun. Let's go check that out. All right.
So I'm not letting Quest leave either until I get answers. So we're both just kind of I'm more reluctantly rolling, like checking the corners and following the two of them.
Would you say that Porter more or less wanted to maybe hire the detective to help him to put the pieces together for this clue that he found?
Yeah, that seems reasonable. Like, he's hit some dead ends, and it seems like everyone's pointing... The world's pointing him towards Quest.
All right, but I only get paid in fish, so...
All right, well, it turns out that Bartholomew actually knows a little bit more about his neighbor. So I'll give you a little background on the neighbor. So his name is Bernard, or Bernard if you're English. And he's kind of a quiet, normal guy that keeps to himself. He's typically a little absent-minded. What's that?
He's a serial killer. They all keep to themselves.
That's right. And he just always come off a little odd. Like, you wave to him and he just kind of scuttles in the house, or he just kind of mumbles something as he like wanders around in circles. He lives in a large, well-kept house in this suburban neighborhood. And really, Bartholomew and Corbett have kind of like that, like, head nod, what's up kind of relationship. But that being said, he still is he's still a businessman in the community that people know about and have a little bit of respect for. and almost everybody in the neighborhood knows that he's a little weird when it comes to his house. The other thing that is striking is up until recently, he used to travel extensively for his job, and he'd be out of town for months or sometimes years at a time, and then it would come in and then be home for a little bit and then leave again. But lately he's been maintaining really standard hours, like 5 days a week. He's a member of like the local business chapter. He golfs with the golf club. He's kind of just like, I don't know, like he's just kind of there, but not in a way that he would stick out. Being a detective, you also notice that during the weekends, he usually stays home, doesn't really go out that much, and then on Sunday afternoons, almost like clockwork, he goes out somewhere and then comes home just after sunset.
He's a reverse vampire. He can only be out during the day.
So let's go ahead and make another notice check for you real quick.
Well, I think this would be an investigation, wouldn't it?
You want to do an investigation? Okay.
Well, because I'm actively looking for clues now instead of just kind of.
Well, this is more or less if you in the past have noticed specifics about his comings and goings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. It's a better roll. I was just
actually watching it.
No, I know nothing. I got +1.
All right, so you just kind of say like, he just Sunday afternoon he must have dinner with his mom. They're like, who knows?
I'm pretty sure he's male, and he may or may not have a car.
He does have a car.
I think he lives next door. That's what I know. So
he actually lives across the street. So you lots of sales.
I'm in the ballpark.
Would I be able to, let's say that I'm also, like, I live on the same street, and maybe I've noticed something about him?
Who said that?
Jordan. Tommy.
Jordan?
Yep.
Well, Tommy, I'm gonna say, I don't know that that's the case, because if that were the case, you would have confronted him a long time ago.
Okay.
I think it would be, the setup where we have, where you've come and you've found out where he lives, and you kind of flew into his house.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
As a student, I would say you probably live somewhere closer to the university.
Yes.
Miskatonic University?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. The what is it? The fighting tentacles or whatever they call themselves?
A fighting cuttlefish of Miskatonic.
It's something like that. Anyway.
Because what's more adorable than a cuttlefish? It has cuddle in the name.
All right. Do you guys actually care about the history of Corbett and he is as far as it goes in the city? Is that important for anybody?
The history of what? I'm sorry, you cut out for like half the words. I didn't.
So, Corbett his business is import and export. His family's been in the town for a long, long time. This is kind of like a common knowledge thing for people who know him. And he always comes off as kind of this kindly, gentle, underspoken, yet absent-minded, strange person.
I'm going to go ahead and say that my war buddy's last name was Corbett as well.
Oh.
Corbett as well. All right.
It's like a cousin or a nephew.
Okay, that's good. So let's go ahead and say, as you knew Corbett, and we'll say you knew his cousin, maybe the dark secret that you know is that Corbett has to be stopped.
Right, like on his deathbed, his cousin.
Ooh, that should be an aspect on the whole thing, is Corbett must be stopped.
There you go. So we're going to go ahead and add that to your aspects.
Good one.
I love that just going to the Transcendental Detective's house across the street.
I'm not telling you anything. The universe is providing.
I know. And as soon as Quest says Corbett, I peek
it
out.
clicked. Right. So what you actually heard on his deathbed was something about the thing, Corbett's thing. You gotta stop Corbett's thing.
I think this is going to the awkward place, guys.
Right, and as he goes to explain a little bit more about, because he's like and he just goes and dies. So you never kind of get
flying circus.
at a loss of words for what the thing actually is, but you have to stop Corbett. So what a coincidence that you come to find a detective which happenstance across the street from the very man you're looking for. The universe works in mysterious ways.
And plans ahead.
Right?
Because I've been living here for years. So.
Right, and he's just kind of a weird guy who likes to have lunch with the dinner with his mom. All right, so we are up to you guys. So Mr. Corbett's property, he's got a 3-story house, which is first floor, second floor, and a basement. It's roughly square in shape. It has a very similar layout to Bartholomew's house, coincidentally. This is one of those neighborhoods where the houses just all kind of look the same.
So I imagine that as soon as I heard Corbett, I pressed Bartholomew for all of this information. Like, what do you know about him? How long has he lived here? What does he do?
Okay, I start making stuff up because that's what I do.
Well, the main thing that Bartholomew that you notice is that he is actually an avid gardener, and he's always out there with his little knee pads and his little gardening gloves and his little like fanny pack with a little spade in it, scooting around. And you're pretty sure that he's got like a greenhouse like on the back of the property as well.
Ooh, greenhouse. I'm gonna go look in the greenhouse.
I'm gonna go check out the greenhouse.
That's what I do.
All right.
And I believe I'm getting paid in haddock. Mm-hmm.
All right, so you guys are like, shit, he's in the basement. Let's go check out the greenhouse. Perfect.
I'm still trying to get information out of him, and I'm thinking maybe if Bartholomew is just like, okay, listen, kid, I'll tell you if you just like shut up and just like help me. I don't know, something to, shut Jordan up.
Bartholomew, what do you think?
I don't know
we could
anything,
do like a
so
challenge
telling him all the information I know wouldn't take very long.
Yeah, no, I give you a quick rundown. So Corbett is born locally.
Oh no, my character is I'm still just like focused on the whole divorce thing. So I'm just like following after Bartholomew because it's like, hey, wait a minute.
I don't talk about that.
You're like, there was a baby hand. We got to go check the baby hand in the greenhouse.
In the greenhouse, because it's in the basement.
In the basement.
Greenhouse has a basement? No. Then why are we going to the greenhouse? Just trust me. It's going to work out.
All right, well, I'll help you, but afterwards, I want to find out everything you know about my parents' divorce.
Well, we all want things, and perhaps the universe will provide answers for you, but I won't.
All right, so you guys hear a door close outside and an engine start. And Corbett in his car drive away.
Well, that's unusual. Normally, he just goes the once on Sundays to meet his mom.
Right. So, it's up to you guys how you guys would like to proceed.
Well, I'm looking in the greenhouse.
Right, so you want to go check out the greenhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Because
all right.
Something suspicious is going on with the greenhouse. Nobody keeps that nice a lawn. Nobody.
You guys make your way across his perfectly manicured green lawn, down the side yard of his house, which is coincidentally unfenced, and make your way around to the back of the house. And there is a large vegetable garden and a greenhouse just beyond. The greenhouse itself is made of translucent plastic and opaque plastic, and looks to be like 6 bays kind of fixed together. And there's a small door in
plastic, so you can't see through it.
Right, it's like
That's
a white plastic.
Well, I'm gonna have to walk inside. Somebody hand me some hedge trimmers.
All right, so you just pop open the door and check it out.
Yep.
I'd like to think that Porter is becoming more and more exasperated with Bartholomew, where he assumed he was coming to this expert who would have answers, and he's just found this.
I look at him and I say, "Time is the infinite river, sir." And then I go into the greenhouse.
I guess it really comes down to, Porter, how much you trust the detective you're trying to hire to help you solve the crime or the secret.
Very few people accept prices as low as I do. So just throwing that out there.
I will say I trust him less and less the longer I spend with him.
You just wait. It's all gonna work out.
All right. So we all go into the greenhouse, or just Bartholomew, or what do you guys think?
Sure. Actually, even though I'm kind of miffed about the whole divorce thing, I actually suspected there was something going on as well, and so I always trailed my father. But I never saw any hint of anything happening, and so I'm kind of impressed that Bartholomew was actually able to find some dirt on my dad, who's supposedly spotless. So even though I'm miffed about the divorce, I'm going to follow him in just because now I'm curious about his investigation style.
All right, and Porter, you also, Ed?
I draw my sidearm, and no, I stay by the door. I keep looking back at the basement, because in Porter's mind, that's where whatever the thing is, that's got to be where it is.
You're not actually sure what the thing is at this point, just that there's a thing.
Right.
Thing. All right, so you guys open the door to the greenhouse and walk inside, and are almost overwhelmed with the smell of flowers. And the room is literally packed with all kinds of unusual specimens that you guys have never, ever seen before in your entire lives. The only real plant that's identifiable is some orchids that are growing on one side.
And orchids, as we know, are parasites who are used to not being trusted, as these are not trusted by me, so I can clearly not trust the smell in front of me.
Unless they knew, of course, that you would know that.
Well, and then I clearly can't trust the smell outside either.
So this would be a good time to investigate.
Heck yeah.
Inside of the greenhouse. So,
anybody want to help me?
Sure, I'll help.
Sweet, that's an extra +1, so that puts her at a +4. Boom. And I got a 4.
All right, so outside of the orchid,
we're poking around, and I trip over something.
Yeah, you actually trip over a large female cannabis bush, and kind of get the whole aroma of cannabis. And in doing so, you notice that there are a number of narcotic
I may have to take
plants.
some samples for later.
Jordan totally perks up.
For testing.
Right? The student's like, what? So you notice that there's definitely a coca bush.
You wouldn't understand. This is grown-up stuff.
Right. So you actually, in doing your investigation, notice that there's these small plastic tabs pushed into the soil in front of some of the plants. Identifying things, like I said, we've got a cannabis bush, there's a coca plant, there's a foxglove and fly there's a large flytrap plant, as well as some deadly nightshade.
Hmm.
Now, as you make your way through towards the back, there are some plant-like plants. And by saying that, I mean these are like, there's a vine that's like large and it's orange with like these big blue leaves, and it, even just being around it kind of like freaks you out. Like it's just wet when it shouldn't be wet, and it seems to move a little bit when there's no wind.
Hmm. Well, there you go, everybody. Problem solved.
All right. Let's see here.
Well,
So,
this bears further investigating. I pull out my pocket knife and I'm going to get some samples from the creepy plant.
you're going to go and try to pull a sample off of it?
Yup.
All right. So as you near the plant, why don't you go ahead and make a will check
Okay.
against this thing? Because you're touching it.
I got a 4.
All right. So you kind of touch it, and you get a little flash of something, and it really doesn't like bother you all that much, but it's definitely like an electrical flash in your eyes. Like just as you kind of brush up against it, and you kind of put your hand back, and yeah, it's a little weird, but it doesn't really affect you. Like you touch it again, and it doesn't. It's not as noticeable, and it's, you know.
Yeah, that was a trip. So, all right, so I get a sample?
So you get a sample, and then you put it in your pocket, maybe?
Yep. And that's why I always carry sandwich bags.
Perfect. That's a good investigator, little sample bag.
Well, it was mostly for sandwiches. I just forgot them in there. But still, it works fine.
The mayonnaise doesn't compromise your sample. You turn around and you look at your companion, having just touched this mysterious vine, and each one of them seems to be glowing with kind of a flowing, bright aura all around, like crystals sparkling.
Huh. Well, that's a thing. Usually I got to take some serious drugs to get that effect. Nice.
Yes. You also notice that the ground seems to be different. It seems to be more like made of like, instead of being like dirt, it kind of shimmers like you're in a Twilight movie.
The snozberries taste like snozberries. All right, well, let's go take a look in that basement while he's away.
So you walk outside, and you go to open the door to walk outside, and the ground seems to be missing for you.
Anybody else notice a lack of ground in front of me?
I keep walking forward. What do I see?
You're fine. Just the person who touched the vine is having a little bit of a problem.
Sweet. I close my eyes and keep walking forward. The universe will provide.
So you guys are standing there, and Bartholomew steps out of the door, and he literally falls into the soil and disappears.
Woohoo!
What the?
So is that a fate point? Because that sounds like a compel.
We could do that. We can do that.
Sweet. Because I'm going to save these bitches up. Because I have a feeling I'm going to need them.
Now, Jacob, if I mess up writing this at all, feel free to step in and make a comment, because I'm not the best at dealing with the situational stuff in Fate as I could be or should be, because my knowledge is from the books, not from playing that many games.
Well, this is how you learn. You can read all you want, but the key is to jump in, just go. My first couple of games were terrible. I recorded them, so you can watch. They were terrible.
I think I'm okay at storytelling and running the game, but it's like, yeah. Anyway.
Well, compels are
Alright.
great because what you do is basically at any decision point, you either look at all the aspects or you just say, hey, anybody have an aspect that would apply here? And then you just hand out fate points and everybody does awesome stuff. Or at least that's how I run fate.
Yeah, no, but we definitely, that's like the best thing about it. All right, so I'm going to have Bartholomew make a quick will check against horror.
Heck yeah.
Average.
Now, I'm going to spend that fate point because I'm the transcendental detective and I'm in tune with the universe, and I'm going to re-roll because that's nonsense. There we go.
Wow,
5.
+5. All right, so I'm going to give you kind of a very mild consequence to your little bit of a spirit trip, as it were.
Sweet. I'm going to spend another fate point and make that go away. Boom.
All right, so you're down to 2 fate points. That's
Yep.
quick.
Oh, hey, when I start spending them, it gets crazy. I usually spend most of the game with 0 to 1 fate point because if you don't spend them, what's the point of having them?
Perfect. That's right. So well, I'll make sure that we don't compel you anymore. All right, so you guys are standing there. He disappears into the ground. And Bartholomew, it's just kind of blackness. And you guys hear a thump and a kind of a clawing, and Bartholomew kind of climbs out of the vegetable garden and is now standing.
It's okay. My wallet broke my fall.
Yeah, you're like, what? I'm totally with it the whole time. So you're standing in the middle of like tomatoes and corn and stuff in the garden. Now, the vegetable garden is actually, so you come out of the soil and you're like covered in this stuff, and you have a bit of something kind of stuck in your chest pocket. And it's maybe like a dog's chew thing. It's kind of like chewed up, but it's like sticking out of your pocket.
Well, that goes in a sandwich baggie too.
Would you like to look at make any?
I could make an investigation roll, sure.
Yeah, do it. Let's see what you find.
I find very little. I got a 2.
Well, actually, you do find that bone that you have, it's kind of like, it looks like someone had some beef ribs or something, and in looking kind of like around, you notice that there's kind of like a bunch of ribs together, but they're smaller and they're kind of assembled.
Guys, I don't want to alarm any of you, but I believe that Soylent Green might be people.
I wonder if the students had taken any forensic classes or had any anatomy or biology classes.
Or just dissected a human for some reason, not related to school.
Sure, we'll say, yeah. Currently going through the anatomy portion of his biology course.
All right, so if you're investigating this, what do you think we would use for skill for this? How would you?
Well, you could use investigation because he is investigating. You could use lore because he's using lore, and that usually covers medicine. You could use craft if you really want to push it for, I don't know, trying to put a body back together or take it apart.
I think lore. I think a good aspect for you is learned. So
right,
let's go ahead and use lore, because since you're a student, you're going to school, you're in classes, you may be able to identify these bones.
So that was my role with lore, and I'm going to use one of my 4 fate points to reroll that.
Okay.
What are you using it on? What aspect?
Lore.
Lore.
Well,
my lore and investigate were actually both average.
But lore is a skill. What aspect are you using to invoke? In order, because you have to use one of your aspects or one of the aspects on the scene in order to get the reroll.
Oh! I see what you're saying. I will use the my student aspect. So
Sweet, because you're smart. You're very much smartly.
I'm hoping for a bad roll because that'll be fun.
You
All right. So
shouldn't have said it. The dice can hear you. They know.
So you actually don't think these are animal bones. You're pretty sure they kind of look like that big plastic skeleton that was in Professor So-and-so's class that you had last semester where that hot girl sat in the front row, kind of next to the skeleton.
Professor So-and-so. He's written so many papers.
all right, I totally gasp and back away. I think these are human bones.
Well, yeah. Obviously. As I take it out of my pocket and set it gently down on the ground. Obviously, they're human bones, for sure. I didn't think they were beef ribs at all. That would be silly. Besides,
so, you actually notice another kind of whitish mound behind you, and you kind of lean against it and pull it out, and it's kind of stuck coming out of the ground. It's something hard, and it's white, and it's round.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. Well, I don't have physique. So.
Houston is the physique guy.
So I look at Bartholomew and he's tugging at something white buried in the ground. Right?
It might be opals. Are we in Australia?
Could be an old bowling ball.
All right,
there you go.
I'm gonna go help him out.
Could be some Tupperware.
So I'm rolling physique here.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
So
let's see. Are you using the roller?
Yeah.
I don't see your roll.
He's using. He's not using the Fate Roller. He's using Dice Stream.
All right, let me go to dice.
We're at Fate Roller. It's the big F on the side.
I see. I'll roll at. Well.
Boom.
Oh.
I pulled the shit out of that thing.
Let's hope we didn't.
Well,
That's
you're both
gross.
nice. You get a bonus. So I'm going to say that you succeed with style on that. So not only do you guys pull this misshapen corpse from the ground, but you pull out with it intact an entire body that has legs where the arms should be, a human trunk. There's 6 human feet growing out from the ribs. And there's numerous limbs and other indefinable lumps of mud-coated weirdness poking out of it all over.
I turn to Porter and I'm like, "See, I'm a great detective. I can find things that don't even exist." So
this thing actually smells.
We have to call my dad. Oh my gosh, what the hell is this?
We're going to make some sanity rolls right now because this thing is bizarro, smells, and definitely looks like it was alive.
You're presupposing I had any sanity to begin with.
Everybody's got sanity. You got a little stress track there.
Every crazy person's got a little sane man deep inside.
All right, so
You're presupposing transcendental means you're insane. Which
no, I'm playing my character as if he's insane. There's a difference.
All right.
All right,
I got a 4.
All right, Jordan, you got the 3. Porter. All right, Porter. I'm going to say this is a severe scare. Well, severe to moderate.
You know what?
thing.
I am going to invoke my Scars of War aspect here to throw in a +2. I've seen dead body. I've seen some messed up shit. You know.
Seen some shit. I kid you not. All right, so you're down to 2 hit points.
So.
I love the smell of rutabagas in the morning. It smells like victory.
All right, so that leaves the student, Tommy. Jordan, Jordan, you're a little rattled by this, and you get a little consequence, and that consequence is, let's see, let's pick a good one here. You have a little bit of a panic attack, and the yard starts to spin for you.
Okay.
So you are a panic attack where you are disoriented.
Okay. I start to get short of breath, which totally like takes me back to my asthma days, which kind of freaks me out even more. So it's just like downward spiral.
That's a great idea. Yeah, perfect. Go ahead and roll again. Let's see if that triggers something, and I'll go ahead and give you a fate point for that.
And what would I roll? Just another will?
A will check, yeah.
All right.
And what's he rolling for? Like what does this do?
Yeah, that seems like just a fact.
Because here's a thing with Fate GMing that isn't necessarily obvious right off the bat, and maybe it's just a style on me part, but if you don't know what you're rolling against as a player in Fate, like if you don't know the stakes of the roll, it doesn't work. Like mystery rolls just don't work in Fate, in the sense of like the players can know the mystery, but the characters don't. That works fine. But if the players don't know what's going to happen if they roll, the roll has no meaning, and so they'll either blow all their fate points to win, or not blow any fate points because they figured they're already going to lose. And so it's just one of those things that it's not apparent even in the rules necessarily, that just you got to be like super transparent about what's at stake when you make a roll, because rolls are so powerful.
So then, I guess my question would be, would I do a compel on his past asthma?
Well, here's the beauty part is compels don't need to have a roll. You can just say, hey, I'm compelling, so you have to do this action, or you can auto fail this action, or you can do something else. You can also compel to put them in a new kind of a situation, like compel to make them run away, so now he's alone in an empty house full of monsters, or something. You know?
Well, I thought that Alan actually explained it pretty well. I mean, at least to me, when he did that, because, I mean, I just assumed that I'm rolling against deepening the panic attack because I accepted the compel that I'm going into like an asthma attack, basically.
Yeah, but you already did the roll for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That secondary roll
and saying this is a fact. Like,
yeah.
Oh no, the original roll was just for a panic attack, but this, I'm saying that, and he had said, basically that this I've gotten short of breath, so that's reminding me of an asthma attack, which is even more severe.
I think the roll isn't necessary, though. I think it should be just
you
panic, and you have to now act panic. Like you have to go do a panicked thing, and this would be where you and the GM talk about it. Say, okay, what does that mean? You know.
Well, yeah. I mean, I see what you're saying.
How does that make your life more complicated? I think the roll is unnecessary here. Is what I'm saying.
I see what you're saying, but I think that there's also a place for a role in that, he's gotten over the asthma, and it's something that reminds him of the asthma, but there's still a chance that he can, basically deal with it, but he doesn't. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is that, like, I'm fine with the way that Alan was doing this. Well, I know there are a lot of different ways.
And I'm not saying he's doing it wrong. What I'm saying is it needs more clarity, because I was uncertain of what was going on.
Okay.
And if the players around the table don't know what's going on, it becomes very difficult for, like, let's say I want to come in and try and calm you down. I don't know what's going on, so I don't know, how to do that. I don't know how to narratively explain what my character's doing.
Right, and by me having you roll, it's more like a D&D mechanic where it's like, roll to find doors.
Right.
I think it needs to be more like, I'm going to go ahead and compel your old asthma aspect to say you are loudly, laboringly breathing.
Okay.
And then you can either take the fate point and have this, shortness, labored, loud breathing as a problem, or
then we can't sneak anymore or we can't sneak with you in our group because you're being loud.
Right. Or you can give me a fate point to cancel that out.
I'm all about the compels and seeing how we work with it. So yeah, I'll take it.
Okay, you are loudly wheezing.
Pull just walk it off,
man.
man. Just walk it off.
And your inhaler's out. You don't have an inhaler because you thought you were cured.
Yeah, exactly. So is that is this still a mild consequence or?
Yeah. So you got 2 mild consequences. You're disoriented, so things are spinning a little bit
How
for
do you
you.
have 2? Everybody just
Oh
has
yeah, I guess this would bump it up to a moderate then.
Yeah, you'd have 1 mild and 1 moderate then.
Or it could be a situation aspect.
It could be that too, which works pretty solid too.
So
There's too many ways you could do things.
Well, that's why I love it. There's so many ways you could do things, and mechanically there really isn't. Mechanically, there's 2 ways you can do things, but
Compel and evoke. Those are the 2.
well, no, there's aspects and there's skills. Aspects you can compel or invoke, and skills you roll. And
So why don't we say this? Like the mild consequence is a panic attack, which also now has an added situation aspect, or personal aspect on him.
breathing loudly.
Yeah, labored breathing.
Right, and that would be something that if you just took some time, it would kind of calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'd like to use I'd like to overcome. I'd like to try and use my provoke just to scare the shit, just to like soldier
It's
up.
like asthma's like hiccups. If you scare them, they'll stop.
Just like pull your shit together. We are gonna get through this.
Okay, so you're going to use your soldier training
Right.
to use your will to impose your will on the students and kind of get it together.
Okay.
All right, but I'm gonna say this is kind of difficult because I don't know if any of you have had a panic attack before, but it doesn't just go away.
Right.
So I'm gonna say your will. Let's say a 5.
Oh shit. All right.
Because you guys could talk him down if you both worked at it and probably calm him down. But soldier's kind of going to get in his face, and in my mind, I mean, your character, you play it how you like. So go ahead and make a roll with
not so much
your.
screaming, but just like that scene in Jurassic Park. I'm not going to do just. Oh shit! All right. Well.
And screaming commences.
That's a severe fail, huh?
Yeah.
Good times.
So I think this would be a good time for things to kind of get worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It fails so.
I always
so
believe
much.
things should get worse. And I have a wonderful trouble that you could compel to make things worse. I'm just.
Well, just that moment as I'm saying everything's going to be fine.
And then the multi-legged zombie stands up.
Well, that's actually perfect because I actually have something that goes with this. So as you start like yelling at him and kind of like slapping him around and trying to like get him together, a weird plant at the back of the garden. At the back of the thing, it's kind of like a spiky blue-green with like a fleshy white purple flowers. It actually stands up and starts making its way towards you guys slowly, but it's definitely good size, viney, disgusting, nasty plant.
So while they're screaming and huffing and whatnot, I'll be like, fellas, I don't mean to be alarmist or anything, but is that normal?
Well, we've got a panic attack happening.
I'm not even looking. I'm just like staring at the ground, trying to catch my breath.
Well, all right. I'm gonna go get a sample. So I'm gonna walk up to the plant.
All right, Doug. Make a notice check before you do that.
Heck yeah, I will. I got a 3.
All right. So you notice that there's actually a little bit of a cloud around the flowers. Like it's like maybe some pollen or something that's kind of sitting around the flowers.
I see your game, plant guy. All right, where is that weed killer? So I'm going to try and get the other two away from it then, I guess, because it seems to have a cloud of what I assume is poison.
Yeah, it's
But
not
hey,
good.
we should, you know, just
Yeah. Away is good. That
Porter
sounds
grabs.
if you've got a moment.
Yeah, Porter grabs Jordan by the arm, starts dragging him back, pulls out his, raises his weapon, and I'm gonna, because he's the soldier. This is his training. I'm gonna start shooting.
And this is why if I ever have children, I'm not naming them after a steak.
All right. So, you want to shoot at it?
Apparently, he's doing a really good job of it too.
All right, that's excellent. All right, so you take a couple shots at it with your sidearm, and you hit it, obviously. And
So, I'm actually going to use my stunt. Basically, I shot to find out if bullets hurt it.
You want to use one shot, one kill to end it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, assuming bullets could do that to this thing.
Well, it actually, when you hit it with the bullets, it actually, you hit it in kind of like the central clump of flowers, and it just kind of like, I don't know, like cabbage, like kind of like opens up and like explodes and shoots like wet, nasty stuff all over everybody, including you.
And
sauerkraut.
Now, that being said, this stuff is not very friendly to skin.
Ah.
So,
I'm going to go find a hose.
You want to go find? How would we do a saving throw in Fate?
Well, it would be a resisted roll if it's a direct attack, or it would be an overcome roll if it's a passive roll.
versus probably athletics at this point.
Well, if it's athletics would be to avoid getting hit at all,
Right.
and to avoid being poisoned, it would probably be physique, or to cure it, it would be lore, probably. Again,
Okay,
it's kind of iffy in where all of them fit, because sometimes you can get more than one fitting into the same spot, and then just go with whatever is your highest number.
I'll say
Well, no, it's up to you guys how you want to avoid it.
Well, for me,
well, I'm going to step around the corner of the house because I was already moving that way, so I'll go with athletics, which I have a 2. So
I'm gonna say it's a 3 or more.
Okay, well, I'm going to spend a fate point. I'm going to be in the right place at the right time. so I step around the corner and I'm okay.
And I'm just going to try and wipe it off, just muscle through any pain using physique until I can kind of get it off anything that burns.
Okay. All right. So you are not very successful at wiping this stuff. Actually, it sticks to your hands.
And this is why
when you
I'm going
do
to
that.
find a hose.
So you notice that your skin is starting to blacken where this stuff is touching it, and starts to kind of, I don't know, if you guys don't get if someone doesn't get a hose on you like now, it's going to get worse. So
What was
before
the number?
before we get to that, what's that? 4.
Whoa. Oh, 4, okay.
So Jordan, what are we doing?
So I finally, even though I'm having a panic attack, when I finally notice this thing walking, like I get a burst of adrenaline and I scurry like crazy away. So I'll do an athletics roll. Athletics is my great skill.
You could use your sprinter stunt to get a bonus as well.
Okay.
But you'll need to. So you're good. You kind of scramble out of the way. All right. So Houston is
I'm looking for a
staring
hose
down at his
to
arm.
hose down Porter.
All right. Do a spot check. Yeah.
Okay. I'm good.
You find a hose and it's already turned on. It has a spray nozzle on it.
Hold still, Porter.
And you hose off this vegetation off of Porter's arms. Now, Porter, where the plants were touching you, your skin is kind of black, like maybe like a frostbite a little bit, and you're kind of tingly in sensation. So I'm going to give you. Well, I think we should give you a little bit of a consequence, and maybe the consequence is your hands don't work right.
Okay.
And that could mean any number of things.
Is that mild? What type of?
Yeah, I'm going to go with a mild one on that.
One thing I wanted to ask about is, and this is more just, because I'm learning the system. When we do get these like mental attacks against us, I mean, are there any options for us to dock off mental stress before we go into consequences?
Depending on what's going on, but yeah. What happened there, or at least best I could parse it, what happened there, was you failed your roll, and I found the hose, which meant basically you succeeded at a cost, and that cost was a minor consequence.
Right.
Because stress goes away at the end of a scene, consequences don't, and so that was the cost. And so like that's one of those things. It's in the GM section of the Fate Core book where it says succeeding at a cost, you can do these things.
Mm-hmm.
And succeeding at a minor cost, which is when you tie, you can do these things. And so I think that's what happened there. But normally, yeah, normally you'd be able to check off stress before you check off a consequence. Because normally they just in an attack it would be it does X stress, and then you could say, all right, well I'm going to use a consequence because I don't have enough stress boxes, or I'm going to use some stress boxes and some consequences, or something like that.
Got it.
Right, and if I do something wrong, totally call me out on it. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So just so you're aware, had you guys not had rolls like this, the further consequences of the cabbage disgusting it is your skin splitting open like rotten fruit, and then continuing to dissolve into a brown mush until it got down to your bones, and it would start spreading. So
it is not my time to die. The universe will let me know when it's my time to die.
So this is Porter, actually. So now that you've had this, things start eating your hands, and your hands seem to be acting funny, or feeling funny, and not acting right. What is that we want to do next?
Well, now I'm convinced more than ever that, one, I'm probably not going to get paid, and two, something hinky is going on here. So I'm going to go poke it around in the basement.
You're going to poke around in the basement. Okay, so there is a couple windows around the basement, but they are like those glass blocks. There isn't like a window that slides or opens into the basement. There is a porch on the back of the house, and there is a walk-up on the front of the house.
Well, I'm just going to walk in, because why not?
You're going to go into the front or the back?
The front.
Front. All right, so you make your way around the house, and you guys are kind of skirting. I'm assuming everybody's going with it.
Yeah.
And down the street, your Bartholomew's latent noticing without noticing. Headlights are coming towards you guys.
Okay.
So you can't tell who it is, but there's definitely someone is driving down the street.
Well, I'm going to kick the door in real quick then, and we'll just go in. Problem solved.
All right, so you guys kick the door in and run inside and slam the door behind you.
I don't recall ever saying I slammed the door.
No? Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, somebody else might do it, but I don't think that far ahead. So.
All right, well, you guys are in, you open the door to the front room, and you were kind of in what looks like what would be like a living room, but he uses it kind of as a study. There's like a bookshelf with a bunch of books on it. There's a book that's open on the table in the middle of the room, and there is a few other like random bits around that you guys could poke around in and look at.
Where's the basement?
Where is the basement? So there's most likely some stairs down at some point somewhere here.
All right. Well, I'm going to go down into the basement.
You're just going to be like, screw it, let's just go find the basement?
Well, he was doing stuff in the basement, and that's when he had the hand, and I noticed the hand, so...
All right. Investigator.
I'm looking... am I down in the basement, or...
Well, you got to find the basement, and it's not... it's like one of those houses where all the doors look the same.
Oh, okay. Nope. Probably not.
All right, so you find a few closets and...
Although here's something I'm noticing. Now, and I don't want you to take this as me being overly critical or anything, but it is a bit of a criticism. Basically, roll the dice only when something interesting will happen if I fail.
Okay.
Because right here, what's happening is I'm not finding what I'm looking for, but that's not moving anything forward.
Right.
And it's not really assisting the drama or anything like that.
Right.
Like, I will find the basement, because I can just keep rolling forever, and there's nothing really stopping me. So eventually I will find the basement, and it's not like the basement's hidden, unless he hid the basement. But then why would he have windows to the basement? See what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, so the roll, basically that roll to a player feels kind of like you're wasting my time. And again, I don't mean that in a critical way. I actually like the way you run the game. It's just...
I understand that. I understand what you're saying. I was just reading about that in the Shadow Worlds, where they're talking about failing forward.
Yeah.
Adventures. So here's the thing. The car that was driving down the street had stopped in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And while you guys know that there's a car out there, and you're just kind of scurrying around the house.
I imagine that's what Bartholomew's doing. Porter's going to be posted at a window. As soon as he saw those headlights, he's posted at a window, seeing what the deal is.
Well, Porter, you just saw the car stop in front of the house.
So I hollered that out.
Okay.
All right, so you got Jordan with you guys, and he's just kind of like sitting in the corner dealing with his panic attack.
Yep.
Jacob is searching the house for the basement door. And Porter just let everybody know that there's a car here. So, Bartholomew, you have kind of gone through the lower floor of this house. You've found kind of like a dining room that's like an episode of Hoarders. There's like a front sitting room with like a fireplace and two high back chairs. There's like a what maybe was once a guest room, and there is a door that is locked, and there's a staircase that goes up. But other than that locked door, that you have not been able to find a way down. So you ascertain, being a brilliant detective, that is the basement door that is locked. And then now, when I say locked, I don't want to say like it's got like a bathroom door lock on it. I'm saying it's got like a bar and like a padlock on it. It's locked, like to keep something down there.
What's the car doing at this point?
The car's just sitting in the front.
Well, I'm going to open this door.
Okay, so it's good. It's bolted, and it's got a lock on it, a padlock.
Well, I know a strong guy. Hey, strong guy. And I point at the asthmatic in the corner. Come here, open this up.
No, I'm not the strong guy.
The strong guy's
yeah, I know, but I'm helping you deal. So
Helping him cope.
I'm going to use rapport to help you deal. Not well, obviously. But you know what? I'll spend my last fate point. Make that a 3. Which should be enough to get rid of that aspect.
And I'm going to assist as well. I'm going to take him on.
That'll make it a 4. Boom.
I can't leave the window. You need to take care of this.
All right, so you guys kind of give him a pep talk. You got to snap out of it, dude. Somebody's here. We got to get her. I don't know if that would make a panic attack better. In real life, I think that would deepen the panic attack.
The dice say otherwise.
But the dice say otherwise, and it seems to work. So
people react to stress.
Oh, you can call upon his come on, we need you, team effort here, team effort, and that totally, he's all part of a team. He's like, yeah.
Visualize. You're right at the finish line. You got 50 meters left.
So, tell you what, why don't I do this? I will call upon my aspect, Trackstar, and I want to see if I can basically do a running jump and kick the thing with both feet.
To see if that'll shoot the door open, knock it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Go for it. Yeah, we're going to say that it's barred and everything, so we're going to say it's a 5.
Okay.
You're going to get a bonus. You're going to plus 2 to every roll. A 3, so it's 5. So you hit the door full speed, and while the door doesn't give and open, it kind of groans under your hit.
Okay.
A key does fall off at the top of the door frame.
The universe provides. I pick up the key, I open the door.
If you had gotten a 4, it would have been awesome. You could have knocked the door open and fallen down the stairs. At least in my mind, you just didn't make it. Bad thing, good thing, all in one. Anyway. Mm-hmm. All right, so you got a key. Door's latched. You hear a car door close.
All right, so I've got my eyes outside. So I'm kind of peeking through the blinds.
Okay, so you see Corbin standing with like a brown paper bag, and he's kind of fumbling with the lock on his car. And it almost looks like he's like drifted away into his own little world.
All right, so I relay this to the other two.
Okay, so you would say like shit, he's here.
Probably a little more calmer than that, but yeah.
Okay.
I think that's the general idea.
Okay, so who's got the key, and what are we doing?
Bart has it.
So, do we open the door?
Heck yeah.
All right, so Corbin is making his way now up to the front door.
I am actually going to, weapon drawn, stand right, so as he opens the door, I've got him pinned.
That's awesome. See, I would have never done that as a player. But that's great. Okay, so you're behind the door, kind of with your gun drawn and up. Bartholomew and Jordan, you guys are at the door with the key. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say, you guys, what do you guys want to do before he comes in? Anything
open the door.
You just want to kind of hang out?
I want to unlock this door and look in the basement.
Okay, so you unlock the door.
Yeah, I just want to get out of sight. I'm still not thinking on all cylinders, so I just want to I just try to break this door down, and I'm like, I just want to get out of sight.
That's good. So we'll say your consequence. Now, Jacob, would I compel his consequence to give him a fate point, or would we just invoke it and use it?
Well, invoking it would imply that another character is doing it, so it would be an NPC invoking it, and NPCs have a number of fate points based on the thing. Right. If you're invoking it gives them a +2 on an action. Compelling it allows you to push somebody's action, to say, okay, these are things you can do, or these are things you can't do now because of this. Because you broke your leg, you can't run away. Or, that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to compel your panic attack, where you're disoriented, that you fall down the stairs once the door's open. Like you kind of scramble and fall down the stairs.
All right.
So I'm not going to say you get hurt, but you definitely fall down the stairs.
Now, you can always negate that, Jordan, with the fate point.
That's right.
No, I like where this is going. Like,
Okay.
yeah. So I take a tumble. I'm back up to my full 4 fate points. Blah! Bum, 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 bum.
All right, so Bartholomew, you're going to go down the stairs too, I'm assuming?
Huh. He's real eager to go down those stairs. Better follow him. So I pull a flashlight out of my pocket, because I would probably have a flashlight.
Being a detective at all?
Yeah.
You probably have like a fanny pack full of stuff, like a little like some Lorna Doones.
Probably. Or just have a lot of pockets.
Yeah, right. Like you got like cargo pants and like the vest with all the pockets on it.
Let me tell you, if I could get away with that in real life, I mean, I do buy pants based on how many pockets they have.
I think that comes from like from your upbringing. When I was a kid, there was like pants with 100 zipper pockets on it.
Oh man, no, I loved. I had Ruse when I was a kid. Remember those? The shoes with the zip-up pockets on the sides. Man, I kept like $15 in quarters in those things. Those things weighed like 100 pounds, which was awesome because it meant I could run like the wind when I took them off. It was like in Dragon Ball Z where they take off their weights and they hit the ground and the whole ground shakes. Yeah, it was like that when I take my shoes off.
Totally out of control. All right. My dogs are making noises here in the back. All right, so the front door opens and Corbin walks in and just throws his keys on the table and turns to go in the kitchen. Porter, what do you want to do?
Bonk him on the head.
Yeah. Pistol whip.
Yeah, you just want to go up and like try to clock him and knock him out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, you know what? Before I want to create an advantage. I want to be not seen. I want to completely catch him off guard. And I don't even know if I'd need to do a roll for that. It seems like...
Well, if you're creating an advantage, you do, because that would give you extra advantage.
Well, I'm going to say to knock him out, you only really need to have a fair roll of like 2. Because he's like a million miles away in his own house. You know, he's not...
Yeah.
He is, you know, you notice that.
Right, to be sneaky. So I am going to bonk him on the head. Yeah, I bonk him on the head.
Nice.
Well, you knock him out and across the room, so he's out. Maybe he hits a chair and the chair like collapses under his weight and he's like laying on the ground, bleeding a little bit, unconscious.
Well, it's really only 2 shifts. It's not like I murdered him.
No, he's not dead. He's just unconscious.
Okay.
Well, if you take somebody out, you get to decide what happens to them.
So he's taken out with the.
So yeah, when you take somebody out, the GM doesn't get to say. You get to say no, he's unconscious. I did not kill him.
Okay.
Because I've gotten into that debate before where the GM was like, no, you killed him. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it says in the rules. I get to decide whether or not he's dead. But
that's one of the biggest things that I have had to like deal is the difference between like this and like other role playing games is that idea that everybody's contributing to it.
There's a variable level of authority here for the GM and for the players. The players have more authority than in your standard game, whatever that means. Because that's one of those things I've gotten into fights with before, arguments with others about before, is that nobody's ever learned how to play role-playing games, because role-playing games are each an individual thing that has its own rules and how it works. You know, in some of them the GM has huge amounts of authority, and in others it's very limited, depending. And some of them don't even have GMs. So, you know, outside of we all play pretend, role-playing games aren't really a good definition as far as knowing how to play.
I think that's true. If like we're playing a D&D game and we're wandering around and I'm letting the players kind of explore something, they have a lot more power and freedom to kind of find.
Well, but in D&D, the assumption is that GM has a great deal of authority. The reason is because as a GM, you even explain it in D&D. You allow them to do that. Like you can immediately take it back, and they can't do anything about it. Whereas in Fate, you can't stop them. Like you can't even compel them out of something if they have a Fate point, because they'll be like, no, I spend a Fate point too, and problem solved for me, because I'm more interested in going this other way than doing this. All you can do is nudge. It teaches you a different way of GMing, which isn't always everybody's cup of tea.
I'm actually, the more I get into it and the more I mess around with them, the more I like it, because I don't like the aspect of other role-playing games where it's like a miniatures game. I like the story aspect.
Well, see, I like that just fine too. That's the thing is I like them all in their own way. Like I like D&D 4th, even though it's basically just a miniatures game, like mechanically. There's actually huge amounts of brilliant advice for GMs in the in the DMGs, but the mechanics are basically just a minis game, and I love that minis game. It's brilliant.
What's funny is I hated
which
it.
Is why
when it first came out, I hated
it. I love D&D 4th Gamma World. Hands down the most Gamma World game that has ever been made. But I get why people don't like it, because it's really different, and it really pushed a certain gaming agenda, which previous D&D games had. Well, it is. It's actually, I think it's the only game that actually did what D&D set out to do at the beginning. It's just that nobody plays that way. So, D&D for so many decades was trying to be all games to all men that it got very watered down and could do a lot of things adequately. D&D 4th was the first one that did one thing amazing. It did dungeon crawls better than any other game I've ever seen, except maybe Dungeon World, and that doesn't do them the same way. So,
have you played the D&D board games?
Yes, which are actually even better.
They're amazing. They're amazing. Not even kidding. Anyway,
it breaks the 4th edition system down into an even simpler system, so there's less fidgeting around with little bits. And it's why I like Gamma World, because Gamma World gets rid of a lot of the excess and just breaks it down to, let's make the craziest game we can make. Let's tear apart this core engine and see what it could do, because the core D&D 4th engine is a really solid piece of mechanics. Way better than 3rd, because 3rd was very disparate. Like, it was very evident that each piece had been tested, but they hadn't all been tested together to the breaking point.
It wasn't fun.
And so,
that was my beef with 3rd.
Well, my beef with 3rd is that it just felt all samey. It's my same beef with GURPS. It just, when you get to a certain point in genericness, it just, everything feels the same. And it doesn't matter.
It's like Munchkin-y. Like, I can add all these things, and I've got like a tree, and if I want to do this...
Well, actually, I think the worst thing about 3rd is that you could accidentally break the game. Like, if you played a druid, you broke the game. And it's just like, you didn't know this when you sat down to play. You're just like, I just want to play a druid. He sounds awesome. And then you're like, he is awesome. He's better than every other class in the game. Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the thing. We're on a tangent. Okay. All right, so we've got an unconscious businessman laying on the floor in the study. We've got a student laying on the landing at the almost bottom of a staircase down into a basement, and the detective making his way down the stairs. Do we want to regroup? Do we want to keep going our own way?
I believe we will do what every good mystery group does based on Scooby-Doo. We will split up and look for clues. So.
Awesome. All right, so...
we may have to set a trap, too. I don't know.
All right, so let's start with Houston. You've got an unconscious man. How do you want to deal with it?
He was carrying something in his hand, wasn't he? Another package?
Yeah. It was, yes.
I want to check that out.
All right, so in the package, there is a gallon of milk and like 16 bags of saltine crackers.
Evil
Man
salty
loves
crackers?
his peanut butter crackers.
Now, there's no peanut butter, just milk and crackers.
Are they evil crackers?
They are now.
It's almost like something you would see in somebody who's got like a small child.
Right, right.
Like
That's it.
constantly be eating crackers.
That's it?
That's it. That's all that's in there. And a receipt for.
Okay. So I grab him by the collar. I start to drag him towards the stairs. Right? I mean, my idea is I know this dude is evil. I know he has to be stopped. When he wakes up, I want him in punching distance, you know?
Well, you know, the what you just said actually is not entirely true because you don't know that he's actually evil.
I know his thing has to be stopped.
Right, but again, we don't know. Maybe the thing was the thing in the garden that attacked you guys.
Maybe.
Yep.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
Porter has a feeling that, like, it's something pretty horrible. Porter also feels that he'll know it when he sees it.
And Porter likes to talk about himself in the third person.
Porter.
You know what? I think Porter feels guilty about knocking the guy out, personally.
Really? What makes you say that?
Well, you know, Porter's been through war, and he feels real guilty about the people he's killed and the bad things that he did, and maybe he doesn't feel really great about, like, cold cocking a guy coming over with his groceries.
Compel time?
I'm seeing that different. I see he owes his buddy, and so he's doing whatever his buddy needs at any cost. And if clocking an old guy's part of that, like, I don't know.
Sometimes you can't make an omelet without killing a few people.
Punching some old men.
All right, fair enough. We'll let it lie because it's getting late and I don't want to go. All right, so you can pull him down to everybody else. Bartholomew, you've made it to the landing and are standing next to Jordan as he stands. And there are a couple more steps down and there's a door. And the door is slightly ajar.
I never trust something that's two things at once. I open the door.
All right, you walk into a room that is lit with rows of halogen lights. It has got a very like CDC clean house kind of feel to it, where it's like, you know, like very clinical, and there's like a kind of a buzz of a generator somewhere, and there's like beakers and like little metal pans of stuff, and it's definitely a laboratory of some sort. There's like magnifying glasses, and there's like a mortician's table at the far end with like the drains around it, like one of those metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of needles and tools and other things that you would expect to find in like a surgical suite.
Sweet.
There is also some cabinets. That you
I
guys
will
can
look
check
in the
out.
cabinets.
You're going to go ahead and search the cabinets. I guess I'm just looking at the thing here. All right, so you take a look and you open the cabinet, and inside the cabinet are all the packages is all the like sterilized equipment and like those plastic like Tupperware containers that you'd like sterilize them and rip them off. There's jars that are labeled. A lot of the plants that you guys saw in the greenhouse are in those jars, like dried. As you're looking through it, though, you definitely notice that there's a slight vibration to the cabinet, like machinery running, like a generator or some kind of machine running that's vibrating that wall.
Interesting.
Oh, and one other thing is, as you go through it, why don't you go ahead and make a notice check real quick to see if you pick up on the nuances here.
I do.
All right. You notice that there is a faint draft of air coming from somewhere just to the left of the cabinets, down by the ground.
I'm going to look for a catch or a button or something that opens the wall.
All right. So you're going to do maybe an investigation.
Sure.
Um,
I got a 0. I would like to succeed at a cost.
you want
So I
to
imagine a
succeed at
0
a
is good enough. So,
All right, so you find like a little pull lever on the underside of the cabinets, and the wall kind of slides open, but the room beyond is unnaturally pitch black.
sweet. Good thing I have a flashlight.
Yeah, that's the thing. Your flashlight doesn't really penetrate that darkness.
I saw this in the Tomb of Horrors. This is where it's a sphere of a sphere of annihilation. Don't put your hands in. Definitely don't put your heads in. That ends badly.
All right, so everybody, there's a door that just opened. Yeah. So Jordan or Houston, you guys want to deal anything with this door?
Hey, look! It's a perfect hiding place. Why don't you go hide in here?
You've got Corbin too. I'm assuming you dragged him down the steps and he's in here now.
I want to try and wake him up. I'd like to. This is getting a little out of hand, a little out of my depth. I'd like to get some answers.
So if there's an aspect of a scene which is unconscious Corbin, right, you'd have to spend a fate point to invoke that aspect.
Not necessarily.
I'd like to
roll. You could roll to overcome it.
Yeah, I want to try and overcome that with. I guess it would be lore.
It could be lore. It could be provoke if you're like trying to slap him awake.
All right, let's go. I'm gonna try and overcome the unconscious Corbin by provoking him.
Heck,
Okay,
it could craft if you want to make him some coffee.
Before you roll, I just want you to know that he's really out based on your previous roll. So I'm going to say that you're going to need a 5 or better to wake him up.
I'll help. I have a 1 in provoke.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting towards the end. Spend some fate points.
Right.
With my assistance, that moves it to a 1.
Well, I'm gonna.
I'll assist too. Like, I'm freaked out about everything that's going on here, but my curiosity's peaked too. So.
Well, I'm gonna spend a fate point. I'm gonna invoke the Corbin must be stopped, and just re-roll.
Okay.
So,
a lot better.
should have taken that +2.
Well, you got to remember, we're helping, so that's a +2.
Right.
So you're at a 2 now. So all you need to do is spend 2 fate points, and you're there.
All right. So let me just set the scene for everybody here. So you've got Corbin kind of in the middle of this room, and you guys are all huddled around him, like slapping him and like shaking him, trying to wake him up.
Yep.
From behind you, you hear something mac and cheesy. If that
Remember,
noise means anything to everybody.
I can't be snuck up on. I have danger sense. So
Yeah, but you know, there's nothing there, but you hear something squishy and spitty and oozing.
Okay.
Like when you're eating macaroni and cheese, like that kind of noise, you know?
You know I'm not going to be able to eat
behind you
macaroni and
guys.
cheese for like a week now.
So what I see is you all are like standing around him and you hear this noise and you kind of all turn at the same time and look behind you, and that noise is coming from that doorway.
Okay. Someone else go first.
I I pull a grenade from my pocket.
Grenade. All right.
Because that's a thing. And I look at the other two.
I get behind Porter.
Okay, so I'm going to say you spend a fate point to materialize a happenstance grenade there, yeah? Based that you're a soldier and you just happen to have brought back grenades with you.
Okay.
Is legit. All right, so you're holding a grenade. I'm assuming the pin is in the grenade.
Probably.
Yeah,
What are you going to do? Tell me.
again, all I know is I'm going to self-compel. Corbett's thing must be stopped.
Okay.
And so I pull the pin and throw.
Pull the pin and throw. All right. Wow. So I'm going to roll, I guess, to see what happens for me.
Should I?
This thing is...
Well, it would be it sounds like it would be a contested roll because he's trying to destroy.
Yeah.
He's trying to do damage to whatever whatever that is, and it's
Right.
trying to not be damaged.
So we're both going to roll.
Yep. And then whoever gets higher, well, if he gets defense, then he defends. But if he gets
Okay.
So what am I rolling?
Please.
Shoot, athletics.
it would probably be shoot or athletics because you're throwing stuff. Although you might be able to argue physique.
I would go
although
physique because
it's
you're
a
throwing
grenade,
something.
so
Yeah.
it's a grenade. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would go with physique because I mean,
It's not-
realistically, if you were to like accidentally like throw it bad, it bounced off the wall.
All right. So they're both a +3 for me. So.
It'd be
Ah!
my 3.
Ah!
All right. So your grenade.
That's two stress.
All right. So your grenade flies into the dark square of the room, and I'm going to put up an image here for everybody to see. Can everybody see that wonderful thing?
I cast magic missile at the darkness.
So your grenade disappeared into this thing that lumbers out of the darkness. And it's kind of... Yeah, go ahead.
It just disappears. Okay.
Well, yeah, you literally like see this like big like orifice on the top of it?
Oh.
That's where your grenade went in. So it kind of shambles out, and you're like, what? And it literally just kind of bursts like a bubble, like a balloon, like just. A lot of things do that in this adventure apparently. Just kind of like pops and just like blood, gore, and just kind of like collapses on the ground and like a mass of like limbs and stuff. Yeah. So whatever that thing was, it is absorbed the impact of the grenade and has just been kind of just like an overripe tomato.
Well, problem solved.
Problem solved.
Anyone for dinner? I've got some on the kettle.
We
Yeah.
have to call the police. Oh my gosh, what is going on? What is
What
going
would
on?
we tell the police? Literally, there are no words in our language to describe what we just did. What would we tell them?
It had like legs and arms, and it was round, and it sounded like mac and cheese.
Exactly. I'm going to go home, and I'm going to eat dinner. That's what I'm going to do.
Yes, that we can end it here, or we can find out what the hell that thing was. It's up to you guys.
Yeah,
what you
does
wanna do.
Corbett wake up?
Well, eventually he wakes up. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely want to find out what this thing is, but I'm just freaked out, and the ramifications of oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't explain this, and I want to be able to go to the cops, and I'm not having a panic attack, but I'm just like oh, or not another one rather.
All right. So what is this thing? Okay, this thing. I'm looking for the write up on it. Give me a second. Of course, now I can't find it. Okay, let's see. Of course, it doesn't tell me anything. All right, so essentially what Corbin says is that he was on one of his trips out of the country, and he came across a book that he found, and at the urgings of, while he was reading the book, he felt compelled to follow this ritual to, he calls it to bridge the world, and he explains that he's got a buddy that works at the hospital, and his buddy has been providing him with human parts to help him construct this bridge. And he says, that this was his first successful attempt at creating the bridge, and the others had been buried in the garden outside.
Ugh.
Now, Corbin is definitely not all there, and he is definitely going to try again if left to his own devices. But this thing was he calls it a baby bridge, like this thing was newly birthed, and he feels like it was his child. So he's like not extremely happy, but at the same time it's like his creation, like a Frankenstein kind of relationship with this thing.
I asked Bartholomew how much gasoline he can quickly get his hands on.
Well,
in
that's the
imperial
funny
or
thing,
metric?
that generator is diesel powered.
Yeah.
There you go. The universe provides.
Just because I don't trust that Corbett is going to give us the right book, or that we could find one, or touching it might affect, I just want to burn this whole place down. I just want to burn it.
I can respect that. Fire is the great
Yeah, I
equalizer.
nod emphatically.
Jordan?
Kill it with fire.
Yeah.
I brought marshmallows. I pull out marshmallows from my coat. We can
Well,
roast
you know
them.
what? Now, you guys didn't like tie up Corbin or anything. Did you just kind of have him sitting in a chair?
We can bonk him on the head again.
Because I think he actually is going to try to escape. So I'm going to use his physique here. If you guys want to try to stop him from getting out.
Yes.
I think I could stop him with that roll.
That roll. Shit.
Jordan.
And I use a fate point to increase it by 2. Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to help.
So you catch him,
Yeah,
tie
the
him to the
sprinter,
chair.
of course, the sprinter.
So you guys tie him up in the lab. You douse the whole thing with gasoline,
With diesel.
and you light it and watch it burn.
And we roast marshmallows.
Wait, did we burn him alive?
Yeah, you tied him up in the basement, right?
Well, we could have taken him out.
Yeah, no, yeah. We just made him watch.
You just, you do it. Okay, so him living is not a good thing.
We just tormented a crazy person. It's fine. I have no reason to believe that will ever come back to haunt us.
Very good. Okay. All right, so that concludes tonight's session. So I don't know what you guys think.
It was okay. It was pretty evident that you hadn't played a lot of Fate before.
Got it.
I think if you're going to keep doing this setting, because it's interesting,
Right.
and I think a Fate version of just straight up Cthulhu needs to be done. But what I would recommend, if you haven't already read it, get a hold of Trail of Cthulhu by Robin Laws. What?
Yeah.
Because the gumshoe system is just brilliant, and
Yeah.
there was somebody who did a hack of the gumshoe system into Fate Core, like how you use the scene framing from Gumshoe in Fate Core. I don't recall where. I think I have the link somewhere, but yeah, I think you just need more practice with Fate Core.
I 100% agree, but I gotta do it, kind of thing. I'm more of like a do it kind of
Well, that's how everybody is with GMing. GMing can't be learned in a book, because it's an entirely social thing. I mean,
Right.
you literally can't read about how to do it; it won't work. So
my game group is my family and my kids and stuff here. Because in the city I live in, California, there is like no gamers. It's like the one spot where there's even like a game store in my city.
I live in Montana. I'm just throwing that out there. Growing up, my nearest neighbor was a mile away.
I could touch my neighbor's house if I opened my door.
Here's I would also recommend, don't make things up on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime you run into a situation where you feel the urge to make up something on the fly, get your book out and look it up, because that's what I do when I'm doing something, because a lot of the rules in Fate seem kind of arbitrary and silly until you use them the way they're intended to be used. So it's a lot of the time where I'd be like, no, that's just silly. I'll just do the quick thing and it'll fix it. And then I'll look it up and I'll be like, oh, actually, wait, this would make the whole game much better if I had just done it the way it said to do it in the rule book.
Well, that's actually one of the things I was chatting with one of the Fate guys, and I was talking with somebody else today about that. That's the one thing I think that Fate would really benefit from is there's a couple games that are on YouTube that you can watch the games and watch them play.
Yeah.
But it's 3 or 4 hours of information, and it's a lot of sidetracking like we did, which is part of playing the game. But I think it would benefit from, here's a 10-minute video on how to deal with this situation,
right?
Specifically.
Well, I've been thinking about going back through my old recordings, because I record every time I play on Hangouts, so I've got something like 30 or something recordings. Going through them and cutting them down and saying, all right, here's what I intended to do at this scene, and here's what happened, and then just do the bits of the scene that make sense. The main problem I have is I don't want to go through 4 hours of audio, digging around and finding the one part I want, because, I mean, heck, I haven't even finished all the Fate points yet, moving those to audio, and that's easy. That's just removing ums and dead air.
Right.
Well, overall, though, this was actually my first Fate game.
Woohoo!
And what I really do like about this is the shared story potential, and that's partly why I was accepting all those compels, because I like to see what happens when things don't go exactly according to plan, and I'm much more willing to do that in this game versus Pathfinder Society, which I do love. But with Pathfinder Society, I am all about my character being maxed out and combat ready, armed to the teeth.
That's what you had to look at what the mechanics enforce, or what the mechanics apply to. Because in Pathfinder, I mean, it's basically 3.5. I mean, it's 3.75, but so Pathfinder is all about the dungeon crawl, it's all about the combat mechanics. Although if you really want to break the game, just start playing with the social mechanics, because the social mechanics are binary, and you can do. I did so much damage with an intimidation score maxed out.
What I like about Fate is that I'm much more willing to play story-based characters versus that. I think that some of my friends in PFS would be very surprised to see the type of character that I played tonight, and I enjoy it. I really do like this system, and it definitely has a lot of potential. And thank you for organizing this, Alan.
Yeah, I've been trying for a little bit to try to get people to that. I think the biggest thing with this that's different is this is more like a improv group, because you're well, we didn't get into character as much as we probably could have, but it's definitely has that feel where you're doing improv. You're oh, well, and this is added to your character, and now you got to deal with that.
Right.
Limp around the stage because you have a broken leg or something.
I do like what Porter did in that. He was no, I'm just gonna stay here and clock this guy over the head. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, lucky rolls too change the outcome.
Well,
If you hadn't got such a good roll with like grenade.
Fate kind of puts you at a separate remove. Like in Pathfinder, because your character is your only real lever on the story, like you don't have any other levers unless the GM gives them to you. So you have your authority, and that's only over your character. You become a lot more immersed in that character in the sense of like, this is all I've got, and so you care a lot more about it. Whereas in Fate, I can affect a scene I'm not in, and I can allow my character to do something stupid or non-viable because I know, one, I'm very difficult to kill, and two, and I think that's something in Cthulhu you may want to look into, is actually maybe removing or reducing the stress boxes and just going consequences.
Well, we have actually there's actually an entire sanity part that has with we did some of the horror checks that go in there, but there's John's a little bit more versed in this. He kind of worked on it, but the consequences, mental consequences, kind of get you taken out a lot faster than it would in a normal game, just because you have.
Well, honestly, I think you should remove physical consequences altogether, because in Cthulhu, if you face something physically, you're going to die. That's one of the rules of Lovecraft, basically. It's like, if you face one of the elder things or one of their minions, you die, because they can't be killed. Like that's just the rules. Whereas, mentally, you have a chance. I mean, you're still probably going to go nuts.
Right.
So you
I think, yeah, but at the same time, what we're trying to do on top of just the mental aspect is, I think one of the things we'll want to provide too is a little bit more direction for GMs in general to have different creatures and situations drop in ready. Like, if you want to like deal with, there's a pack of wolves like in the woods for some reason that you're out there trying to look for something.
So then you may just want to have a separate rule for like elder things. Like, if you face these physically, you die. That's the rule.
Right.
Like wolves and people. Exactly. You can punch cultists all day long, but you can't punch a deep one, because that's just going to end badly for you.
Well, no, if you were like encounter Cthulhu, just by being in his presence, you would mentally have a complete and total breakdown.
And see, that's my issue right there with the whole Lovecraft mythos. The only thing that ever did Lovecraft right, in my experience, is Hellboy, because Hellboy punches the crap out of Lovecraft.
Yeah, it's a little abstract, but like I said, the whole point of making it's got to be fun at the end of the day, and that's kind of what I want to see. I want to see like there's different factions within the city that are all kind of trying to come to the same end goal, and they're all working against each other, and where your characters fit into those factions. You're a priest, like Yig is a good example. Yig is like the Quetzalcoatl snake god person of the Lovecraft world, and his main followers, they hide behind a like a Baptist church that's like all about handling snakes. So it's like there's a faction and there's this group, and you're like, so we're trying to set that kind of mood up for the GM to kind of deal with that, and integrate that into the game as they need, versus being like, it's an open game, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Well, I'm against that kind of play style anyway. I mean, Jade Punk, when I came on board, we were leaning that direction, and I was like, no, we can't do that. And so we went the route of, all right, you are the good guys. You are fighting the bad guys, and the bad guys are really, really bad, and they're in charge of the world. You are trying to change the world. Go change the world and make it better. And that's, because
ours is that everybody's trying to have kind of their own agenda to kind of try to take over the world. But I mean, in my mind, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the I don't want to say the creativity because that's not the right word, but maybe the energy to kind of come up with all of this stuff, spend weeks and weeks coming up with a story arc or designing whatever they want to do, and rather being able to say, like, okay, if you're at the Arkham Asylum, these are the aspects of the Arkham Asylum. So you have a starting point that's kind of generic, kind of thing. Anyway, that's just the thought,
and again, my whole issue is I don't like Lovecraft. I find his worldview and his writing fairly abhorrent.
He's a little out there, but you got to get a certain time too.
He's racist, sexist, pro-eugenics, atheistic, and atheistic in all the horrible ways. Like believes there's no God and understands how horrible the universe is in that mindset. Like there is no hope, there's no justice, there's no free will. Thanks, Lovecraft. Thanks for giving us that. Woo.
Yeah, I think, but the time period that he was living in was kind of kind of a bleak time,
There were all kinds of stuff going on, but again, it's just I don't like his mythos because this mythos implies things about the universe that I don't want my brain in that space. I don't want.
Yes, I agree with that.
Of unremitting horror, like literally the horror of knowing that nothing you do will matter ever. Like that's what Lovecraft wrote about. Is that the universe is an uncaring, unfeeling thing. Cthulhu isn't killing you because he's malevolent. He's malevolent, but that's not why he's killing you. He's killing you because you saw him.
Yeah, that's right. He's killing you just because.
No, well, he's not even really killing you. You're just dying because you saw him. Like right. He doesn't care about you at all. He didn't notice you. He doesn't even notice Earth, really. Like,
right.
I think for me, Lovecraft's setting, it really depends on who I'm playing with. I played Arkham Horror, the board game, a while back,
right.
And I had a fantastic time, and part of it was because we had one guy in particular who was a fantastic role player, and he got the character, I think it was Gloria Goldberg, and it was just such a fantastic game, and partly because I think that he really did a good job with his RP of steering things towards, like, yes, this is a bleak setting, but we were able to turn things around because I've written a story about this, and it was really fun. And
and that right there is the biggest issue with having any kind of critical discussion of RPGs ever, is because half of RPGs is a purely experiential experience. Like it's purely anecdotal and it's purely subjective. And so anytime you say, I have a problem with X game, what other people are hearing is, you had fun with this game, so you're stupid. And that's not right. That's not what other people are saying. What they're saying is that there's a flaw in this game. You can still have fun with flawed games, because fun is not the end product of games. Like a good design game and you can have a horrible time with a great game, and you can have a great time with a horrible game. Some of my best experiences playing Palladium, and Palladium is.
I see what you're saying. I was talking more about the setting itself, where.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Though it's like it happens in the same area though, because it's subjective. I can discuss the flaws of the setting, and we can all agree that the setting has weird flaws, but at the end of the day, it's did you have fun? And my answer is almost universally no, unless I'm allowed to do basically what I do here, which is be silly, because that's the only thing you can do against horror, really.
Jake, did you have fun tonight?
What?
Did you have fun tonight?
I had a modicum of fun, yeah, but honestly, we didn't face that many monsters. And honestly, I did what I always do in the face of unremitting horror, is I behaved silly. Because silly people are very hard to horrify because they're silly.
I think that what you were talking about, though, the game group does go a long way to making a game enjoyable.
Well, and that's the thing with designing, though. It's like it's so hard because you realize you're 1/3 of the problem. You're 1/3 of the solution. Like you're 1/3 of the thing, but you're the least important third of the thing. Like, those people would get together and have fun, whether you wrote your game or not, whether you
Right.
wrote it well or not, because they're going to have fun together no matter what. So she's like, awesome.
But at the same time, you can have the same game group and somebody's off, and it just ruins the night.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, our thing is to be like more like not like a standalone game as much as like J-Punk is.
Yeah.
We're more of a kind of a setting with some direction for using the core rules in hand kind of thing. Like, you couldn't just get our book and run a game, because you would be missing out on how to deal with any of the skills or any of the Fate core stuff that is required.
Yeah.
It's just redundant, especially
Well,
with
we went back. Ryan and I went back and forth. Basically, J-Punk came out of Ryan and I disagreeing about everything. He brought me on board, and I was like, this setting doesn't make any sense. And he's like, it makes total sense. And so we started arguing, and the setting started to form up. And then I was like, these mechanics make no sense. And he's like, no, they're awesome. And then we ended up coming up with a set of mechanics that neither of us really thought were great, but we thought they were adequate. And turns out everybody really liked them. So there you go. Yeah, basically J-Punk was, all the good parts were accidents, and all the bad parts were accidents too. Basically, it's an accidental game.
Well, I think with what hopefully everybody gets their hands on when we're done with this whole thing, if you wanted to run your game like a World of Darkness, you could take the stuff that we give you and make it that dark horror game. You wanted to take what we give you and make it more of like an investigative Call of Cthulhu kind of game, you could run it that way as well, because you're running it off Fate, and it's up to your group how you want to deal with that. Not just telling you this has to be horror and this is how scene has to play out.
Except Fate is really good on putting the has-tos into the mechanics. Like, you just put down a couple of aspects, and the entire game is then about that. Like, you can just compel and be like, all right, guys, you can try that, but the universe doesn't care, like,
Right.
And monsters always kill, and things like that. Like, you throw down one of those, and all of a sudden, the game becomes a different thing. And so,
Right.
I think trying to make it semi-generic may not be a mistake, but it's not utilizing the full machine of Fate.
Right.
Because the thing that I've realized that while we've been selling this, and part of what we did on accident, was we made a game that was very focused, and it stayed within that focus, and people really responded to that. Like, nobody has said, man, I wish I could port this into something else, because they'll port it no matter what. But if you make it really tight and thematic,
Right.
people respect that, and they say, okay, I really get this. I get what this is trying to do. And that, I don't know if that makes sense, but...
Yeah, no, I understand. Well, I gotta. We're still, like I said, it's still making its way. So.
Yeah. No, and I'm totally looking forward to seeing how it goes.
All right, I'm going to bed. It's late.
Yep.
But thanks for playing.
Yeah, no worries. Oh, and also, Alan, I wanted to chat with you real quick just about the upcoming Sunday thing that you signed up for as a maybe.
The D&D game?
No, it was for another Fate game. You signed up maybe for the game that I'm running on Sunday.
Okay. I don't know. I signed up for. Today's been a busy day. Yes, but I did sign up for a something coming up. Rise of the Dragons? No, that's not it.
It was the near.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Go ahead. Ask your question.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Well, one thing. Do you think that because I definitely want to make sure that I get enough people. So if I don't have like 3, can I send you like just an email and just be like, hey, can you play?
It's really going to depend on my youngest son.
Okay.
I'm going to try to stop broadcasting here. Hang on a second.